Well, I joined the clockers up here at Gulfstream. It's not that way at every track. Calder, I kind of work more on my own, but here I have the luxury of being up on the roof with the clockers, so helps me identify horses where, in other cases, I might have to try to weed them out myself. And we kind of work as a team up here. I get here right after the first break, and there's not too much action before that. And, then different days is just different situations depending on how busy we are. Sometimes it gets extremely busy, and then you really need teamwork for everybody to get in sync and pick up, make sure everybody picks up horses and we don't, nothing slips through the cracks. But I try to watch as many horses as I can finish and see how they finish. To me, that's the most important part of these works. So even if I'm not timing a certain horse in the morning myself, I can get the splits. I know they're going to be accurate from the other clockers, but if I could watch them finish, I get a better idea of exactly how that work went. Most of them are, and a lot of these good horses are pretty much of a routine, so you can almost predict when they're going to work. And I try to time the good horses myself when I know they're out there, and the other clockers know that I'm timing them for either a story or for future reference as far as the Derby Trail goes. So I try to do as many of those as I can, but sometimes even they will slip through the cracks once in a while, and someone else has picked them up where I might be timing another horse because I just didn't quite see him get out on the track. But by and large, like I said, I try to get to see them all finish, and if I can get all the splits myself, then even better. Again, like I said, not only how they finish, that's the most important part to me. How they gallop out is very important to me. Who the rider is, sometimes you'll have an exercise rider that'll weigh 130, 140 pounds on a horse in the morning, as opposed to a jockey who might weigh 105 pounds. So that makes a difference as well. But by and large, the two most important factors to me is how they finish and how they gallop out. I don't like to see a horse that's a little too anxious. They might work a fast time, but they'll do that the wrong way, as we say. They might start out and go 22 and change, 34 and change. They might finish 5/8 and 59, but they're getting tired at the end. They weren't rateable. They weren't finishing strong. They would have no gallop out. So even though the time might be fast, a horse that works a minute and change, but does so by going off in 25 and maybe finishing the last 3/8 and 35 and 1, 35 and 2, and then galloping out strongly. Slower work, but to me, much more impressive. The average horse, I don't watch him that closely. When I'm at the Derby or watching the better horses here, yeah, sometimes you could see a change in how they're going. Sometimes there are certain horses that seem to get anxious in the morning that might wash out all of a sudden. That's not a good sign. Or you might see them not going as well as they were. On the flip side, seem to be going stronger, more willingly in the morning, especially Derby week and Breeders' Cup week. We watch those a little more closely because I'm not watching as many horses on a daily basis, so you can kind of hone in on the bigger horses and get a better idea on a regular basis, on a daily basis, how they're going. Here in the morning when I'm timing other horses clocking on a routine basis for my handicapping, I don't get to see as many of the gallopers as I'd like. Well, everybody has speed figures, everybody has trip notes, but very few people are out here in the morning watching the horses work. So like I said, there's the raw data in the paper. You can get the final time on a work, but you can't see how a horse does it. If you see it yourself, sometimes you can get a lot more out of those final times because you know how they achieve those times and how the horse is doing, as opposed to just reading the paper and just trying to digest the times as we see them in the daily racing form every day.